Non-essential football staff goading opposition players into penalties and ejections on the sidelines of NFL games. What do we have here? What is soon to be the newest craze and eventual scandal that plagues the National Football League. Karnak? I am not. I'm Cheyenne Hollis. This is the Touchback, and let's talk about it. Security guards gone wild. By now, you're most likely aware of what transpired between San Francisco 49ers linebacker Greenlaw and Philadelphia Eagles chief security officer DiSandro during the team's recent clash. The ejection has to be one of the more ludicrous, things to have happened on an NFL sideline in recent memory. It's also about to create a huge headache for Roger Goodell and NFL owners. So here's the deal. I almost never agree with 49ers fans on anything. Having grown up in Northern California, I am fully aware that this group is a spoiled, entitled bunch with opinions that just don't line up with reality. I will never forgive them for making me sit through an entire year of why Ken Dorsey should be benched in favor of Cody Pickett. It was a stupid argument then, and 20 years later, it's even worse to think about. On this occasion, though, those 49er faithfuls, they have a very valid reason to be upset about what happened with Greenlaw. Now, before you start with your whole spiel about, DiSandro was just doing his job of protecting the players, blah, 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 there are two very important questions we need to ask ourselves right now. Firstly, what is this man doing next to the field of play? A threat to Philadelphia Eagles players, to Philadelphia Eagles coaches and other sideline staff? It's not coming from the field of play. It's not coming from the other team. Everyone wants to make it out like, he's there doing his job. Are you telling me an NFL player cannot defend himself from the other team? I mean, the whole point is a tackle sport, for crying out loud. The idea that you need a massive security guard to protect yourself from other players is just, it doesn't make any sense. More importantly, though, threats to players are either coming from the stands and crazed lunatics fans running onto the field, or possibly a drone or some terrorist thing, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. Like, there is no legitimate reason for the chief security officer to be standing on the sideline of an NFL game. If he has to be there, fine. He should be further back, up against the wall or whatever. He should not be anywhere close to the sideline. I don't see any logical explanation apart from the fact that this is just a perk of the job. That word job, that brings us to the second question we really need to ask ourselves here. Why was DiSandro not doing his job? The NFL, coaches, players, front office staff, everyone, they love the concept of do your job. You hear it all the time. Everyone's saying, we just got to do our job. Every player needs to do his job. Blah, blah, blah. Do your job, do your job, do your job. It's like the biggest NFL cliche there is. Yet, DiSandro clearly not doing his job on this occasion. We know that because the dude is responsible for protecting Eagles players and coaches from various threats that may happen anywhere but on the field. I mean, the field of play during a game is the only place where DiSandro's presence isn't really required. Maybe there's a time where craze fan runs on the field that having the chief security officer near field level would be vital, would be important. However, DiSandro's job is most definitely not taunting or goading opposition players. He should have no interaction with the other team unless they have a knife or a gun that they're hiding in their pants, or some ridiculousness that we know isn't ever going to actually happen, most likely. If you have ever worked in a restaurant, you have most likely heard the phrase, time to lean, time to clean. In this case, though, I think when it comes to DiSandro, time for an ejection, time for an inspection. Like, there's nothing better you could be doing with your time right then and there to protecting the Philadelphia Eagles than interacting with the other team during the game. I refuse to believe that. There had to have been some better use of the chief security officer's time in his duty of protecting the Philadelphia Eagles. What I still don't understand is why DiSandro is getting the folk hero treatment in Philadelphia, especially considering the Eagles just got boat raced by the Niners. Results aside though, this brings up something that just really gets to me, and that is the public celebrating security guards or cops at stadiums or whatever the case may be not doing their job. I always go back to the Boston Red Sox bullpen cop who became an internet sensation for watching the game and not protecting the players on the field. I mean, hands up guy was like everywhere for a month. I mean, he's still getting an occasional 15 seconds of fame moment, but he was doing a bad job at what he was supposed to be doing. That guy is not there to watch David Ortiz hit a grand slam or to watch the Red Sox in general. He is there to protect the bullpen and make sure shit isn't happening that could affect the security of those players and managers and coaches on the field. While this guy's busy watching the Red Sox hit dingers, maybe while his head's turned, some fan decides, hey, now's the perfect time to run on the field. Maybe, because security's so lax at Fenway Park, Ben Affleck's crew from the town is like, maybe we go back and hit up Fenway Park again and finish the job. I'm going to take a 20-second time out and tell you a little bit about my experience watching The Town. You see, I haven't actually seen the movie in English. I caught it at a really just a budget movie theater in Morocco while I was doing my study abroad there. It was dubbed in French, and there's like a 7-minute interlude where they just started showing some Bollywood movie. I don't know if some section got edited out or the guy controlling the film reels just lost track of what he was doing. So I don't actually know what happened during The Town or really how it ends, but I do know they robbed Fenway Park, so I got the gist of it, I think. Also, don't ever go to the cheap movie theater if you're in Morocco, because it's pretty dirty and a weird experience. Let's return to the originally scheduled topic. The NFL, it's a copycat league. If one team finds a way to exploit something or do something successfully, everyone else is going to try it. They may not work as they planned, but they'll look into how they can also make this work for them. Right now, you can bet every coach in front office sees something here that they're going to at least try to exploit. If the trade-off here is a player from the opposing team gets ejected at the expense of losing one of your non-essential football staff that are just loitering on the sidelines, why not tell each and every one of them to start taunting and goading players from the other team if they're anywhere near the sideline? Let's be real, football players always respond to this kind of taunting. It's why there's almost skirmishes on every play. So this is actually kind of a seemingly potential brilliant strategy. Even if you were to tack on a 15-yard penalty to a staff member trying to taunt a player and getting them ejected, it's still like the cost benefit here is worth it. It's a very minor deterrent when compared to the upside of having a key player from the other team booted from the game. Even if the person involved were to get like a season ban or even a lifetime ban from being on the sidelines, that doesn't really matter. You don't need that person to be on the sidelines regardless. Having your chief security officer near the field, it's not going to win or lose you a football game ever. On the other hand, the other team not having a key starter, that's a pretty big deal. That's an entirely different scenario. Look, I'm not saying we're going to see this become rampant or widespread. It's not going to take over the league by storm or anything like that. You do have to think, though, that teams are at least going to try it a little more. They're going to be willing to take that risk, cross the line, toe the line, edge the line, and see if they can bait opposition players into responding like Greenlaw did to DiSandro. It's a no-lose situation for them. I mean, even a 15-yard penalty, like I said, it's a very minimal deterrent, especially considering just how difficult it would be for officials to recognize and enforce. There's no sideline referee paying attention to what's happening on the sidelines away from things. I mean, they're obviously looking for people not encroaching on the field and whatnot, but there's 50, 60, 70, however many odd people on an NFL sideline any given Sunday. There is not an official who's already got a handful of other responsibilities capable of also now monitoring what freaking Joe Blow, the chief security officer, is doing. It's not really feasible to have them also monitoring that behavior. More importantly though, the NFL is a place where we saw a quarterback deflate footballs for a minuscule advantage. It is a league where a coach put bounties on other players for just a fractional advantage, even if it wasn't even a real advantage, even if it was just a perceived advantage. There's no doubt that some coaches aren't going to be walking up to those non-essential staffs and maybe even jokingly say, hey, you think you can talk trash to the other team while you're there? I mean, it's worth a shot, right? We don't know what the punishments will be here, but I'm guessing it's going to be completely unfair for Greenlaw, regardless of if it's a suspension, a fine, whatever the case may be. I don't understand what he did wrong here. I mean, he shouldn't have to worry about someone who's not a player or a coach talking to him on any sideline or on the field in general. As for DiSandro, he's going to be treated as a hero in Philadelphia. Those Eagles fans will buy his crappy merchandise, and really, it's going to be no harm, no foul for him, even if he is banned from the sideline for a couple of weeks or even the rest of the season. It doesn't really matter because he didn't need to be there, and he doesn't need to be there in the first place. I think the one thing that cannot be understated here is that DiSandro wasn't doing his job. That is embarrassing for a chief security officer to, with so many potential things happening in an NFL game, you're talking trash to other players. Get out of here, man. Like, in a sport that values doing your job, this guy is being treated as a hero, and he couldn't do that one thing that everyone talks about. That is not the worst part of this story, though. The worst part is the fact that more NFL teams, they'll at least try it in some form or another. Who knows if it works? I mean, you think it might, though, and that is not a great thing for the National Football League. Finally, I want to celebrate those security officials and police officers and the like at sporting events who do manage to do their jobs well. You know, there's a lot of commotion and a lot of temptation to watch the game and not do your job. But I think when you go to various sporting events, I've been to Lincoln Financial Field, and I think when you look at those security guards, by and large, they do a really good job of making sure that, you know, nothing bad happens, at least to the best of their abilities. That's not going to be perfect because nothing is. Salute to those who manage to, you know, not taunt other players and not turn around and watch games, because you are the ones who make sports possible, at least in a small way. That does it for me. I'm Sharon Hollis. This is the Touchback, and as always, hashtag take it out to the 25. Girls come wild. Girls come wild.